Well, this is quite the spot.
Tried to get one closer, but I know it's hard for y'all to travel.
Appreciate that. Your friends
Yeah, of
are...
course.
where exactly?
They're down the road. You can see them from here.
There's only one or two out and about. They're not exactly close. They don't exactly know where this is. So...
Yeah, these ones I promised I wouldn't do anything like this alone, and I try to keep my promises. So, they're sworn to just watch, regardless of whatever happens.
anyone I know?
None of my usuals, actually.
Fair enough. So, then... let's talk about that ultimatum. Yeah? I assure
Yeah,
you that you're
let's
not
talk about that.
overly thrilled with such a thing being placed on you, and I myself, it was not something I said, yes, let's give Glory an ultimatum. It's time. Hermes acted on his own volition. The mutants themselves, without... the one thing that the Archon did, that the Archon did well, was he kept everyone's mindsets aligned. If you differed, you were excommunicated, or worse. Now, with him gone, and us preaching freedom, and all mutants are the same, there's not any power anymore. Things just sort of happen. Mistakes get made, things get said that are wrong. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see. I don't need to tell you how dangerous that is. It's starting to look a little bit more human than y'all tend to go.
And he did mention multiple times, apologies for laughing, just how I process this, that he wouldn't be killing you, he'd be coming to torture your people. Which is just such a cherry on top, but...
I mean, I like to think you and I know each other decently well by now, and you know that that's worse for me. That's a worse threat. I think he knows it too.
yes, that's why he did it. I'm certain. Look... It's not easy. It's not like I haven't given you ample time. I know what you
Oh, I know.
believe.
An ultimatum, really? That's what we've come to.
I heard he even shaved a day off while I was asleep.
Yeah, for actions committed by not me. Retaliation for something that Funny Bones, whatever the fuck his name, did. Y'all just taking in any sort into your church these days? Murderers? Raiders?
Yes, I take it, Mr. Bennett is not who you expected to see. Ever again, and at least as a mutant.
No, that tracks for him, actually. Tracks for both of them. I'm sure the other one will join soon.
All of you have horses, nice.
Say again?
Nothing, sorry, I just saw the movement. I don't... You know I don't want to kill you, Glory, but... this whole thing with Frank was... an exemplary example of what your species is still capable of. Believe it or not.
Frank was certainly something.
Yes, you told me he died by your hand, that he... a classic little quick draw, wasn't it, of nature? He said he was going to shoot you unless you stopped him. That's what I believe I heard last time we were talking, yes?
That's correct. He, had planned to kill me for a while, I suppose, and then his reasoning changed, but his outcome didn't. At the end, he said he wanted to deprive Rome of the satisfaction of getting him himself.
Hmm. That I can see. A trick I might imitate if things get dire. Haven't seen the Romans in a couple of days, though. I'm sure they're always busy.
I'm sure.
I want you to tell me what I've been waiting to hear for a long time. I think we touched on it briefly, but now that we are truly standing here alone... Who was it who was going to make you kill me? You say it was the Romans, but I know it was... Are we talking Minerva here? Or someone else? Because she's the only Roman I know, at least well enough, besides Caesar himself. And that was ages ago, yes?
No, she wasn't gonna make me. Nobody can make me do anything. I think you, of all people, ought to know that by now. And in some ways, I'm, I guess, grateful to Frank. I don't think I could have gone through with what we had planned that day, despite the convictions associated. See, I know, and you know, and we both know, y'all ain't like us. You're different, you're changed, especially over the years. I got this, real bad habit of caring about people even if they ain't like me. Even if I can justify it all day long and say, well, they eat people, whatever. Conquerors, colonizers. Turns out brain and heart have a little bit of a disconnect, so you end up with one pretty sad redhead just hanging on.
It's not the end, Glory, it's the new beginning. I know where you're coming from. I know why. In your shoes, I'd be doing the exact same thing, and in mine, you would be a mirror as well. I don't
think I'd have a choice in yours.
Well, leadership is something I've never wanted. I've done the role that I needed to do. I've never run anything. I don't own anyone. I'm not the boss. I'm not the king. I'm not the god.
No, but you're the voice. I think you know the importance that has.
If I'm just a voice, then I must be a voice of reason of sorts, because, well... You've met the rest of the family.
Oh yeah. Most of them anyways. Your family grows quite a bit these days.
Yes, like I told you, we had a large rekindling from a group that was in Canada. The Black Palm, yes?
Yeah, I remember them.
Yes, well... I don't know if word traveled or if they just got sick of the cold, but they've made their way down here. They have a prominent force that is growing almost independently now.
You ain't worried about that from a unified perspective?
I am, but in terms of the old Revenant with the Archon, they were the ones who opened our eyes. Upon meeting with them only for less than a week, we had our brothers and sisters spilling secrets they knew about his past. Archon, Karma, whatever his name was. Marshall. You see, the past is a funny thing. It's usually good to let it go, but when you base your whole image, your whole facade around one thing and it's a lie. Yeah. If he ever shows his face in Hawkins or anywhere where I am, he dies instantly. He is a traitor. He is a heretic. Apostate. He has led the flock astray. That's what the Palm did for us. They showed us that we shouldn't be following false gods. Especially because this Archon, I'm not sure of how much was known to the chattel and the humans, but he was claiming to be Warlock, and I know you know what that means. And this is the kicker. I know you know from my little private experiments that in the old day one could create a serum of human blood. Well, this Karma, this Marshal, made a serum of his own blood, and then pretended to be the father of mutants. For years, Glory. For years we followed him blindly. Amazing. Always changing, like I said, it's just...
So what do you follow now? The palm?
Well, now we're in a sort of a divide and reform. I'm sure it's no secret to you. You've heard or maybe even seen of our most recent progress as a species in this place, yes?
Oh, I've seen some of it, sure.
Yes, we figured that most of the humans didn't care about that town. I mean, there was a group there, but Boone and his boys ripped their walls down in under 48 hours. I remember the day back in January, and well, ever since then it has some sort of a curse, it must. Because no one lives there, so we said, if no one's living there, why not claim it? And we did. But yes, we have a small division living out there. We're still unsure of which faction or such, but the Revenant has split. We're dividing it. That man who is so fond of you, that mutant Hermes, he is creating a division called Hawkins Laboratories, where we'll be creating and studying everything we need to do.
Why is that man so fond of me?
I don't know.
I understand. You and I have history. I don't know him. And frankly, I think he talks too much. Which is saying something coming from me.
If you want my personal theory, Glory, I will. I'll just tell you. I am what they call a heretic, my friend. There is something within me, something within the way that Skylar's blood altered me, that makes me susceptible to these outlandish thoughts and attachments, as my brothers and sisters call them. It's the reason I was able to fall madly in love still. It's the reason why I still value you as a friend. I don't simply seek to use my emotions as a facade to gain leverage or favors. No, 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 no. I want you to live forever. As a friend. Truthfully.
Right, but only under your stipulations, right?
You would have to go through a slight species change, technically. You would ascend past humanity. It doesn't mean to forego it. It simply means to rise above it. And
What if that weren't possible? You're just going to keep pressing me for the rest of my days until you get tired of it and put a bullet in me?
Well...
Coming up on a deadline, right?
If Hermes is able to complete that, you think I'm going to assist him? As I said...
I don't know, I thought y'all were all one collective group, right?
And
one mind, one voice?
Jack Dean, firstborn of Skylar Wolf, has always kind of run against the grain, if you know what I mean. I've always been on the outside of popular belief, but enough to stay in line for the family, just their sake. I'm sure, Glory, even if something were to happen and you were to get captured, there would be a darkly cloaked mutant in the middle of the night that would spring you from your cage.
I'm sure. Look, I don't particularly trust this ultimatum or this exchange, and it ain't because of you, and it ain't because of Hermes. Them Bennett brothers, they want me dead for the sheer crime of witnessing what River did to them. And they're not going to stop. Whether or not I ascend or what the future brings, it don't matter. So your case never had a win condition because of those two.
Well, they were recent. Their minds are still young to mold. I agree they're not perfect. They are truly road men. At face value at that as well. Nothing else underneath the surface. Not a poet, not a lover.
Listen to me very carefully, JD. They're smarter than they look, and they're more vicious than you can ever imagine. I've seen it firsthand. I've heard it from people who used to live with them. I'm here talking to you right now because I feel like this might be the last opportunity I get to do it. And it ain't because of you, and it ain't because of Hermes, and it ain't because of all the other motherfuckers in this valley who think I'm trying to do anything except keep my people safe. But those two, you need to be careful. From an old friend to another.
Mm-hmm. I'll keep my eye on them. Not that it matters,
should.
but in a ideal world where you would ascend, they would have to forgive you. And also, in the more likely world where you grow old and die untouched, hopefully, wouldn't it just be a simpler solution to kill River?
Well, honestly don't know all that much about River. I don't know if he'd go down swinging. Well, he probably would, but more likely he'd run off.
Because River is the
He's
one
a very
who
brave man, hard
shot
parts.
those two, right? It was River.
Sure, but that's still their brother, and they had an opportunity to kill him and didn't.
So they want revenge
I
on
think they
you, and not the one who actually pulled the trigger.
Well, just as y'all want revenge on me for Frank dying when, sure, I had a gun pointed at him, but I don't think I got a shot off before he was already on the ground. I have to take responsibility for the people under me. That's just part of the gig.
Doing what you do best all over again. Well. The last little piece of information, then, of news of what is going to be changing. If I'm able to get it off the ground, I am starting my own faction of sorts.
Oh, I'm sure you'll be a better leader than anybody who's tried before you in keeping that family of yours wrangled.
Well, it's always difficult. Most of my family, they seem keen on moving to witness the growth of the newest flower. Not everyone wants to stay in Hawkins. Someone has to, right? And well, I volunteered myself.
Has to. I reckon y'all got most of the rest of the world, but that's neither here nor there.
Exactly. It's here and there. So how do we squash this then? I don't want to send you in hiding for the rest of your days. An ultimatum.
I don't know if I've got much choice.
Well, I haven't agreed to it, as I said. Hermes might have some pull, but you think he's going to rally the whole family to hunt for you?
I think he might. I think he might with help.
Well.
Look, I got plenty of targets on my back. This ain't anything new for me. But I didn't want a deadline to come up and y'all to come knocking without at least getting a chance to talk to the one among y'all that I care to. You know I can't agree to his terms. Frank chose his way. It was his choice. He made that decision, and he knew what position it would put me in. He did it anyways. Can't fault him for that. Spite's a hell of a drug.
Then, Glory, what is your way?
I don't really know. Just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, like always. I can't give myself up. People would never forgive me. I would never forgive me. They rely on me. They need me. And I'm trying to build something where they won't need me and can keep it going themselves, but we ain't there yet, so I can't step away. Don't know when that'll change, or if.
Realistically, if your due date comes and he's not able to find you, the worst case scenario, you'd be looking at a siege, and then, well, following that siege.
Right, a siege where my people get shot and potentially killed, captured, tortured. You know I can't stand by and just allow that.
No, but you can change the location. Doesn't have to be Centerville.
Yeah, I suppose. I got plenty of people in my ear trying to tell me what to do as it stands, so we'll pick a route, I'm sure.
Just advice. I don't know what his pull in the family is going to be. He could pull no one, he could pull everyone. So, I guess
Imagine
I'll
he'll
try
pull
to...
at least two.
I could try to keep you notified. We'll work out a impromptu code involving numbers at the time. We're getting pretty good at codes. I will say this as well. Your beautiful codes that you have, they are... My advice is always keep fluid codes. Everyone.
Oh, I agree. Unfortunately, that one ain't my, jurisdiction. Just, way to talk. But, I'm aware y'all are aware. I ain't seen that Sam kid in a while, but I'm sure as much as she yapped on y'all's end, she yapped plenty on ours, too.
Surprisingly enough, it did not come from Sam, and I remember that child. Hope she's doing well. But, yeah, it's quite annoying.
Last I saw her, she was, putting on some kind of fake British accent, pretending to not be herself, and I ain't seen her since.
Interesting. Yeah, no, she didn't yap too much, but I will say one of our requirements, if... in the old day, Glory, the day we're very familiar with, the day where I was king of the mutants, one of the trials was information gathering. Not the codes to your walls, but code phrases, code names, maps. We've had an eye and an ear in every community for 3 or 4 months. Multiple in some cases, yours included. In fact, the
That ain't surprising, but
only one I think is probably District 0. We haven't had anyone who's gotten the balls to go over there for a trial.
yeah, that's not surprising. Why are you telling me all this? Why would you be willing to go against your own people's wishes? For me.
Because I think you need more time. 16 years wasn't enough, apparently. I'll push it for 17.
Well, to be fair, I was only conscious of about 1.5 of those years, but maybe that's a story for another time if we get one.
I'd love to hear more about it. I've gathered what I can, and honestly, you either have the loosest lips or remembers the most details. Probably a little bit of both on it, yes?
Maybe so. Don't exactly, keep secrets, regardless of what this dark chameleon person seems to think, leaving notes on my walls.
I saw that.
I'm a relatively open book, but people gotta actually pay attention.
Did you get my note the night I found out you lied to me?
Oh, I did. Message received.
Hope that wasn't too,
And for what it's worth... No, I understood. For what it's worth, She was a kid, and y'all were trying to kill her for all I knew. Raven was a psychopath, and that's, I think, the only lie I've ever told you to keep a teenager safe. You'll have to forgive me the one.
I understand why you did it. But if you knew me, all I wanted to do was take one good look at her. I've seen the mutant process on hundreds and thousands of chattel for 2 decades almost, Glory. I know what to look for.
Well, so did we. And she genuinely wasn't... It wasn't anything. It was mostly a kid who had been deeply traumatized and hurt by the people around her and had some physical repercussions because of what happened. And then I imagine y'all got to talk to her yourselves anyways, so, you know.
Yeah, she ran away the first chance she got, didn't she?
They always do.
Can't fault them for it. They have to learn somehow.
I'll should get back to my friends before they get antsy.
Of course. What were you going to say to me before we left the other night?
Mostly this. Have a conversation, a frank discussion between the two of us, without the influence of outside parties on either of our account. There was obviously things I couldn't say in front of Foster and Harlan, and I imagined there were things you probably didn't want to say in front of your people, but
Likewise, yes.
you and I have always been honest with each other, so
How is Kat?
she's resting, recovering from getting into the state. She was an unwilling guest to a group of your people for a long time.
I gathered as much. Truly, when we found her, we were on our way to see you. You know, from the multiple locations that we tried. And when we
Yeah,
found
that was
her...
my mistake.
No, you're fine. Just when we found her, it was kind of like, perhaps this is destiny. Because we knew the instant she spoke, I knew you'd recognize her voice. I would always... anyways. Finally, I
Of
have...
all the people I expected y'all to show up with, it
No,
certainly
not
wasn't her.
Kat.
Not after 16 years.
No, of course not. What are the
And
odds?
I do genuinely appreciate you and Wasp getting her to me unharmed. I know that was probably y'all's call and your family's.
Yeah, they listen to us. Before you go, can you just enlighten me on one small thing that I'm not even sure that you're even going to withhold from me? I know, and we hear that you, being the leader, of course, you get to attend, but there have been many meetings of the humans. What to do? When do we do it? I don't want to know your plans. That's not what I intend. Our plans are cut and dry here, Glory. We're going to plant a flower. We're going to amass chattel into being mutants for who can take care of it, and once we have enough members, we're going to amass another flower. I will never tell you who has the seeds. I will never tell you when or where it will be planted, but that is the goal, until this valley is latent and amassed, just full of them, yes. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. The Romans, publicly, how is their influence going? Are they everyone's buddy? Are they everyone's friend?
It's so-so. I don't think they've got the best reputation. They ain't got the worst. I mean, they've been putting in the work to try and help folk. Regardless of whatever Wasp seems to think our relationship is, I have a personal friend or two among them. Professionally, I have my reasons for keeping them at arm's length. Y'all can think what you want, but we ain't bowing to them, and neither is anybody else in the valley.
I need a way to stop them. I wasn't scared of the 33rd. I'm not really scared of District 0. You scare me a little bit, Glory, but it's a good scare. You know, you're angry, you're fiery when you want to be. But Minerva, someone like that gets in power. We always have this conversation, but if someone like her gets power again, you know what will happen.
Yeah, I reckon if it ain't one group trying to colonize, it's another, you know?
Is she the one you care about?
She's one of them.
That makes this
Despite
difficult.
myself. Look, I ain't trying to interfere in anything you've got going on, other than the obvious, but I'm also not going to help put her in a bad position. Y'all are smart enough to figure out what to do about them.
Yes, they are.
I do think, I will say, this valley ain't as keen on living under a boot as folk on the island were. I think if they do try an expansion of sorts. They're going to be hit with a lot more resistance than they expect.
Let's hope so.
The people who still live here, the people in Bitterroot that have made it this far, imagine there are two kinds of people. Folk who are desperate to live at any cost. They usually end up in your camp. Or folk who refuse to let anybody else tell them a damn thing about how to live their life.
It's a nice view, I like that. Fits. It does. It encapsulates most beings nowadays, no?
I'd say so. And there's the oddballs like us. You know, always got to be a couple of outliers, I'm sure.
It's not broken yet. The rules of the game may have changed, but there's no reason we have to be cutting each other's throats every time we see each other.
I'd prefer not to be personally, but, you know, several people in your family want me dead, and several people in mine want you dead, and optically, it ain't the best for us to be having conversations.
No. I hope the ones behind you have been trusted. I assume they know it's me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they're aware.
of course. Do they want to come say hello? I'm truly alone tonight.
Probably not. And as much as I trust one of them to sit at a distance and mind his manners, I think if I let him closer, that might be pushing him, so I don't want to put you in that position.
I appreciate that.
Regardless of what you might think of me, I don't actually... The idea of you dying is not a happy one for me.
You know, I mean, I met you when I was a mutant, so.
Oh, and I was immediately intrigued. You were a reporter then, I think. Something like it. Or a spiffy little vest.
The stories I could tell. It's been fun talking, Glory. We could talk all day and I wouldn't feel a second pass, but if you've got places to go,
We're
if
pushing it.
your people are waiting, then get back to them.
Be careful who you let close to you, JD.
Now, before you go, would you like to take a little wager? I have 50 nails on me. Am I going to make it 100 meters, 200 meters down that road before I'm assaulted and captured?
I imagine you'll make it at least 2 kilometers
Hey!
back home.
Right at the front gate. Alright, well. Get out of here, I'll watch, and then I'll leave.
Alright. See you when I see you.
Yeah,